Hey, my name's Jennifer and I have Mary here. Hi, Mary.
Hi, friends. Thank you so much for joining us this Saturday. What's everybody up to? Jennifer, what are you up to today?
Just enjoying this beautiful summer weather. I cannot wait for this project though today. This is one of my favorite activities, painting rocks. If you haven't done it yet, kids, we're so excited to have you here and to show you some of our favorite techniques and what to do and what you can do with rocks.
Hey, Jennifer, I thought while we're waiting for all of our friends to join, I could show our friends here with us now some of the rocks that we have painted and kind of get ready. This will give our friends time to join the meeting and we'll fix it. So,
Sounds good.
um,
Oh, I love that.
rocks. I wonder how many people who are joining our class today have painted rocks before.
Yeah,
A little hedgehog.
I
This,
love hedgehogs.
this is one of my favorite rocks.
Oh,
Anybody knows what book inspired this rock?
what do you guys think? What does that look like? Oh, yep, I see some hands.
Did somebody say The Very Hungry Caterpillar? Because if they did, they're absolutely right.
Such a good book.
How about, do we have any unicorn lovers out there? I don't know, can you see my unicorn?
We love unicorns. Oh yeah, I see lots of kids, lots
There
of
we
friends
go. There's
nodding their heads. We love unicorns. All right. Wow, Mary, I see you've got a lot of stuff there. Look at all those rocks. Amazing.
How about this one? Can you see how shiny that one is? I love this one. So what do you think, Jennifer? Do you think enough of our friends are ready and we can start
Yeah, I
talking?
think so. Everyone looks like they're ready. They're excited. So you want to
Okay,
walk through what you've got?
sure. So first of all, I have the best job in the world because I get to work on projects like this, which this is the hide and seek rock painting kit. So I'm going to be opening this up and I'm going to show you what's inside. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you can paint rocks, but I just want to let everybody know that you don't have to have this kit to participate, because if you look around your yard and in your neighborhood, rocks are everywhere. And even some of my friends in Florida, you know what they paint? They paint seashells. So let's get started. So let's open this up.
Yeah, and Mary, before you get started, everyone just remember that you can chat me and you can ask me questions and I'll help to respond. But I do see a lot of friends holding up the box, Mary, so it seems like we do have some friends that have the kit.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so let's look what's inside. First off, we're going to give you two paintbrushes and this little sponge right here. And we'll talk about that sponge in a little bit. We have some paint for you. Now this is special acrylic paint. And what I love about using acrylic paint on the rocks is that it makes the rocks nice and shiny. And then it's also weather resistant. So if you hide your rock outside in the snow or the rain, your artwork is going to stay. What else do we have? Looks like we have instructions. Now, you can read the instructions. You can have mom or dad read the instructions. You can also look at what we have on the box as inspiration. Along with the instructions, we have these super cool rock transfers. They're kind of like, you know, those temporary tattoos that you put on your skin? Well, very, very similar, only we use these for rocks. And what's nice about these is they can inspire a design, and you don't have to be a perfect artist. You can paint around them. You can use it to enhance any of your rocks.
Those are fun.
We have these super shiny gold transfers.
I see some raised hands. Don't forget to, kids. We're excited.
And then these are going to be really hard to see on camera, but these are called tracking stickers because we have a rock group, a Creativity for Kids rock group. And when we paint our rocks, we like to put the tracking sticker on the back, and it's hashtag Creativity for Kids. So if you paint a rock, or if you hide a rock, if you find a rock, you can take a picture, ask mom and dad, and then you can post it on our website. That way, that's the fun thing about rock painting, is that you're able to share with everyone out there who's also rock painting. And maybe some of you might even belong to a rock painting group. I know I belong to a rock painting group in my home state of Ohio called Northeastern Ohio Rocks, and I love seeing what everyone finds. Now, finally, the best thing of all are the rocks. We give you 2 bags of rocks. So here's one bag, and here's another bag. So you've got a lot of rocks to start. So now you know what you need. We've got that going. So let's talk a little bit about what we need before we start painting rocks. We want to make sure that we're protecting our surface. So I have a little piece of poster board here. You can use newspaper, you can use a garbage bag, whatever you want. Sometimes the rocks can be a little dusty, or if you're finding your rocks outside, you're going to want to give them a little bath. So I always give my rocks a little bit of a dunk in water to make sure that they're not dusty. You want to make sure that you have some old clothes on, or maybe a paint smock, something that's going to protect your clothes, because the kind of paint that works best on rocks can also be a little bit staining. So you want to be careful about that, and have some paper towels so you can clean up your messes right away. So we've got our paintbrushes, we've got our paint, we've got our sponge. You know what else we need? We need a cup of water, and that's how we're going to rinse our paintbrush, because if you change colors, you're going to want to wash off your paintbrush so your colors don't get muddy. Now, the best thing about rock painting is looking at the rocks and letting the rocks inspire your creativity. So I like to take a look at my rock, and I like to see what that rock wants me to paint it. What do you think?
What does it look like, everyone?
Does anybody have an idea? What's this rock telling us? Jennifer, any of our friends have any ideas?
I think they do.
How about a heart?
Heart, yes.
Okay, here's another one. This is a fruit I love to eat in the summertime. I like to eat it with something called shortcake. Anybody have any ideas?
Yes, strawberry.
Yay. Okay, do I have any sports fans out there? I've got this nice, perfectly round rock. It could be a basketball, a tennis ball, a soccer ball, maybe even a baseball.
A baseball, yeah. Friends, don't forget to answer me in the chat.
Okay, all right. So let's get started. Since I've got this baseball rock in my hand, I'm going to call mine a baseball rock. I'm going to get started painting this. Now, one little trick I'm going to teach you is, this is going to be magic.
Whoa.
If you add a coat of white paint first, it makes all your other paint colors pop, and it gives you a nice coat. So if you've got your rock kit and you want to start painting some type of ball, a baseball, a basketball, a soccer ball, that'd be great if you could do it with me. So I've already put one coat on. So I'm going to do a quick little coat of some more white paint. And I want this nice and white. But if I'm going to paint this and it needs to look like a baseball, what do I need to add to it? Any friends out there have an idea?
They say lines.
Did somebody say the red threads? Did I hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I want to do that, I can take my red paint and I can paint a curvy line this way. I think I'm going to go over that again. A curvy line this way. And I'm going to paint a curvy line this way. Is anyone playing baseball this year? It's nice to hear. I hear some sports teams are starting back up again, so you can start playing sports again.
Mary, do you have a favorite baseball team?
Well, I'm from Cleveland, so can anyone guess what my favorite team is?
The Cleveland Indians? Congratulations.
All right.
Very cool.
So
So
you see what I'm doing? Just
this
taking a
rock,
few quick little strokes and I'm making a baseball. But if I wanted to turn this into a soccer ball, I could make those little black marks. What are those? Are those hexagons? Somebody help me. On the soccer ball, the little black marks, I could do that.
very cool.
You know what? If I go to a Cleveland Indians baseball game, if I get lucky enough to go to one this year, I can take this rock with me and I'm going to hide it somewhere in the stadium. But when we say hide a rock, what we want you to do is you got to hide it where someone will find it. Because if you hide it too good, no one's going to be able to find it. So you kind of want to hide it somewhere where people are going to find it. The first
Have any of our friends found a rock before? Maybe you're taking a walk or, oh, I see lots of hands raising. Very cool. Well, the rocks you paint today, once they dry, you can go hide them around your neighborhood or hide them wherever you want. And anyone who finds the rock is just going to be so happy. You're going to put a big smile on their face.
The first rock I ever found was under a bench outside a movie theater. And I was so excited because I've probably hid 100 rocks, and that was the very first one I found. So I was pretty excited about that. Okay, let's remember this rock.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that trick I taught you about putting a coat of white paint on? Well, I did that with this one. And this way, when I paint my heart, it's gonna really be a bright, bright red. You don't have to paint it first. You don't have to paint it white first. If you have time and you want to, you can do that. Now to paint a heart, I'm gonna paint two, kind of like a teardrop shape or a raindrop shape. You see that raindrop? I've got a raindrop here.
Very pretty.
And
Friends,
then
how are you doing? Don't forget to ask questions in the chat.
hey, there's a special holiday coming up very soon. It's on Sunday, if you live in the United States.
Yes,
And for a special guy.
I know what you're talking about. Is that Father's Day?
It is Father's Day. And you know what? When I was a little girl, I loved making my dad breakfast in bed. And so
Nice.
if I was going to make my dad breakfast in bed, I might make a heart-shaped rock like that and put that on the tray when I go and deliver breakfast in bed.
Friends, let's see what you're doing. What's everyone painting?
Remember that strawberry
some
rock?
hearts. Oh, I see baseballs too.
Yay, awesome.
Such a good job. Look at that. Lots of good things. Great job.
Remember that strawberry rock I talked about? Well, I'm going to
Yeah.
teach you another little trick because, you know, I'm not the best artist in the world and sometimes I need a little help. So you know that little jaggedy leafy top that the strawberry has?
Yeah.
I'm just going to take, you see what I did? I took my pencil and I drew across the top so that I know where I want my leafy top to be. And that way I can paint the bottom half red. I'm using a lot of red today.
How long does it take for the paint to dry?
You know, it depends on how warm or how cool your house is. A couple tricks that I've learned. One thing is if mom and dad say it's okay, you can use a blow dryer, you know, a hair dryer, and that will help speed up how fast your rock dries. So that's great.
Great.
Today, it's a sunny day at my house. So I can take these rocks outside and I can let them dry. And you'll be surprised at how quick they dry. The one thing I will say is for them to be like fully dry, the paint needs to do something called cure. And that just means the longer it dries, the harder and more permanent the paint becomes. So you might want to wait sometimes overnight till that paint is really dry and really hard before you go hide them, because you don't want all that work you've done to paint your rock to get messed up.
Yeah. I see lots of hands. Friends, don't forget to ask me questions in the chat. I love strawberries, Mary. That's looking good. I'm excited to see how you finish it.
Now, what if you can't find rocks? What if you live in a place where there's no rocks? You can't find any rocks around your neighborhood. There are a lot of like hardware stores or places that sell plants and things like that. And they usually sell big bags of rocks that can be used for like landscaping, or if you have a pond or something like that. So you can go and with mom and dad's help, because those bags are heavy, and you could buy a big bag of rocks and it's pretty cheap. And then you take your hose, and you're gonna wanna give those rocks a really good bath because they might be a little bit dirty. Okay, how's my strawberry coming? What do you think?
I love it. It's making me hungry.
Now, one thing, if you've ever eaten a strawberry and you look really closely, there are teeny tiny seeds all over the strawberry. Now, I don't want to make teeny tiny strawberry seeds, so I'm going to teach you another trick. So you see the end of my paintbrush is kind of small and round. I'm going to dip my paintbrush, not the bristle end, but the paint handle end. I'm going to dip it in and watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go dot, 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 dot. Go back in, get a little bit more white paint. How's it looking?
Awesome.
All right, and there we have our strawberry. Anyone else painting strawberries? Jennifer, any of our friends out there painting strawberries?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I see some really good ones. Good job, everyone.
See, our heart's drying. I'm gonna put our heart over here. I'm gonna run out of room.
I love it. Mary, what's your favorite place to hide a rock?
My favorite place?
Yeah.
I like to, when I go on hikes, I love hiking, and I love to hike, put them out on the trail or someplace where people will find them. I also like to hide them around my neighborhood. I have a lot of kids who love to ride their bikes and rollerblade, and so I like to hide them on the sidewalk. Sometimes I take sidewalk chalk and I'll draw maybe a heart in my sidewalk chalk, or I'll write a message and I'll put a rock right in the middle of the message. I know another friend who they paint a whole bunch of rocks and they hide them underneath their tree on their tree lawn, and they invite all their friends walking by to take a rock.
I actually did that yesterday. So Mary, what else are we gonna paint?
Let's see. Any unicorn people out there? Is there anyone who likes unicorns?
Raise your hand if you like unicorns. Oh, I see some hands. Oh yeah.
You see this guy? Let me see if I can get him even closer.
Adorable.
So look, it's pretty simple. It's just like a white rock, and then you can draw some ears and draw a horn and some cute little eyelashes, and then you've got yourself a cute little unicorn. So let's try that. Let me see. I like this rock. And again, with magic, remember what I did? So let's see. What's the first thing our unicorn needs? What's something that all unicorns must have? The most important thing about a unicorn? Anyone? Did they say horn, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take my marking pen. Now, here's another really smart trick, is you can take a permanent marker, but again, make sure you check with mom and dad, make sure it's okay. And I'm going to make a horn right in the middle of my rock.
So is there a special type of marker that you use over the paint?
Sure. Well, because I work for Faber Castell, I love using these Faber Castell Pit Artist pens, and they have all different kinds of tips. Another name for the tip is a nib, so you can get a fine point or a broad point. or a brush tip, and they're super nice to use. So that's what I like to use. But I know there's other markers like Sharpies and other lots of other kinds of permanent markers out there that you can use.
Great.
Yeah. I think my unicorn needs some big ears. So I'm going to put an ear on this side. And I'm going to put an ear on this side. And let's see, how about those cute little eyelashes?
I love it.
Now, I want to do some flowers. Remember that technique I showed you about dipping the tip of your paintbrush in? Well, let's try. I think I'll make a purple flower.
How's everyone doing? Good. I see lots of thumbs up. Awesome.
Okay. There's a purple flower. Here, let me hold it up closer. Can you see that purple flower?
Yeah. Adorable.
I like to keep my paint closed when I'm not using it because it helps keep it from drying out. And also, I'm not always a really neat painter, and sometimes I drag my sleeve in my paint. And if I keep it closed, then I won't get paint all over me. Okay.
I love it.
All right. Let's see.
And you can use different color markers too to add different colors.
Yeah, that is a great idea. Now, I didn't talk about mixing paint, but mixing paint is a really fun thing to do. You can mix paint in a palette like this, but if you don't have a palette like this, you can just use a piece of aluminum foil like I have here. So I want to make pink because I want to put some pink in the unicorn ears. So I'm going to take a little bit of white paint and I want to put that here.
Raise your hand if you like the color pink. My hand's raised. That's my favorite color.
My favorite color in the crayon box when I was a little girl was magenta.
Oh.
I loved that crayon. So that crayon was always the crayon that was the shortest in my crayon box because I used it all the time. Hey, did you see what I did?
Yeah.
I took white and I mixed it together and now I have this really pretty pink. So I'm going to try and see if I can paint inside my unicorn ear. Maybe there.
And you can mix any colors. You're just going to keep getting your own unique version.
That's right. It's fun to learn how to mix colors, and adding white will always make a color like more pastel, bright. Now my unicorn horn, I think I'm going to use my yellow paint, and I'm going to use my fine point paintbrush, and I'm going to see how I do.
Friends, I think we fixed the chat, so you should be able to reach out to me now. Try again, okay? My name's Ask Me Questions, and I can answer your questions for you, okay? Mary, that's looking so good.
Here we go.
I see some names. Megan, hello. We're sorry about that, everyone. I can see you. Emma, hello, everyone.
I'm gonna put my little nose, and I think I'm going to put a little sideways smile on mine.
Oh, I love it.
I painted a happy unicorn.
Oh, Maya has a question. She's asking if we can use oil pastels instead of paint.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I'm so glad you asked that because, again, I told you how much I love my job working for Creativity for Kids in Faber Castell. And I have these great oil pastels. Now, if you don't know what an oil pastel is, if a crayon and a piece of chalk were friends, they would be an oil pastel. So an oil pastel is kind of like a crayon and chalk mixed together. And what I like about these is they're not messy to use like paint can be. So if there's some little kids in your family or anyone who wants to do an activity that's not so messy, I'm going to show you a rock that I made using my oil pastels. And this I just colored and I made this really super fun rainbow.
Beautiful. So, Mary, our friends want to know which rock is your favorite?
Oh, oh, you know what? I'll show you real quick and I'll tell you why. This rock right here is a kitty cat rock. Can you see my kitty cat rock? So this is actually my cat, Tigger. And if you look at the front of the box, guess who you see on the front of the box? That's my cat, Tigger. So that's my favorite rock because it reminds me of my kitty, Tigger.
So Mary, a friend is asking us about your water. They see that it's a little dirty. How often do you recommend changing the water when painting?
That's a great question. When your water gets muddy, it is a good idea to change it frequently because that muddy water kind of gets in your brush and then your paint colors can get a little muddy. So yeah, that's a great question. So I might even have my friend Michelle, who's here with me. I work with Michelle. She helps me out a lot. I'm going to ask her if she'll get me some clean water. Thank you, Michelle.
Hi, friends. So Mary, what are we going to paint next? And when we do the painting, our friends are asking about the markers. So we just want to make sure that we're using a permanent marker and making sure we're letting that paint dry. So it's right.
Correct. So like the baseball that I made, if I wanted to use a red permanent marker, I could use a red permanent marker. I just want to make sure that my white paint is dry before I do that.
And then we have a friend who's asking if the rocks should be treated before putting outside, or will it not wash off?
Well, what I love about our acrylic paint is it's got like a sealant built into the paint so that when we paint it, it's water and weather resistant. Some of the paint you use, you might need to use, and this is something a mom or dad would have to use. There's something called a DuraClear, which is a sealant that people can spray on the rocks. It's kind of like a sheer clear varnish that helps protect the rock. So you can do that too. So those are great ideas. Also, if you're painting a rock and it's not permanent paint, which is fine, you can also hide it somewhere. Like if you're going to visit your grandma or your grandpa, hide a rock inside their house. How nice would it be after you leave if grandma or grandpa or your aunt or uncle found a rock that you painted? So
I love that idea.
Yeah.
You know what I like to do? Like an Easter egg hunt, but with a rock hunt.
I love that idea. Also, sometimes I like to take rocks. You see this guy, I put some wiggly eyes on him and I put this little fur. I don't know if any of you like Troll Movie. I know I did. But since he's got fur and he's got wiggly eyes, he's not a great rock to hide outside. So I might hide him inside of one of my friends' houses. So keep that in mind. Jennifer, I'm going to show them real quick how you could use the oil pastels on the rock as we were talking.
Great.
If you can see, I'm just coloring right on top of this rock. So I've got blue. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it a little bit better. And then maybe I'll go with yellow. And what's nice is our youngest friends can use this because anyone who can color and make a mark on a piece of paper can certainly use a pastel on a rock. And like I said, crayons also work really, really well. Our crayons, our Faber Castell crayons are beeswax crayons. So you'll notice that the colors of our crayons are super, super bright. And they have a lot of what's called pigment in it. And that's the dye that makes the colors super bright. So here's green.
So Mary, if you use oil pastels, do you have to seal it to put it outside?
You don't. It's interesting because the oil pastel, and I don't know exactly how an oil pastel is made, but it has kind of like a waxy feel. And if you notice that wax kind of repels water, so that's going to keep your. But you know, as we say, with any rock that we decorate or do, natural weathering is going to happen over time, and that's okay. Sometimes I've found rocks that have been hidden for a really long time and the paint is kind of worn off, but I still love those rocks because I know that somebody took a long time to make that rock and to hide it. And when I found it, I was really happy. So that's my rainbow rock.
I love that. Friend, show us what you're working on.
Hey, Jennifer,
Ooh.
I thought I would show some of those cool transfers that we have.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Look at all these things you guys are working on. I love it. Great job.
So let's see.
Very cute.
Let's ask our friends, should I do the diamond, the heart, the shamrock, or the star? Can they vote? What's your vote?
A diamond.
Okay, so I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut around the diamond.
So friends, just a reminder that this video is being recorded. So if you want to go back and learn some of the tips again, you can go to michaels.com/classes, and early next week, you'll be able to see the video and watch it again.
Okay, so you see I've got that cut out. And now you've got to lift, there's a little plastic paper on the top. So I'm going to peel that off. You see that plastic paper? I'm going to throw that away. I don't need it. And I'm going to take my diamond and I'm going to lay it on top of my rock like that. Okay. Then I'm going to take my sponge. Remember that sponge that comes in your kit? And I'm going to dip it into some clean water. And if you've ever put a tattoo on your skin, if you've gone to a fair or a festival or maybe somebody's birthday party and they have those tattoos that you apply. So I'm just going to keep pressing my sponge on that transfer. If you take it off too soon, do you know what happens? It doesn't come off all the way, and then you might get maybe just half of a diamond. So this step takes a little bit of patience. You got to keep pushing and push and push and push. And then you'll start feeling that start coming off. Oh, are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready for the big reveal?
Wow.
Wow. I think this one would be a great one for Father's Day.
It's so pretty.
Yeah. And this, I didn't need to paint at all. I had a black rock and this shiny gold transfer. And there we have our diamond rock.
How's everyone doing? Don't forget, if you have questions, you can ask me questions. Let's see your rocks.
You know what, Jennifer? I think we have a lot of rock stars out there. What do you think?
I see a little puppy. I see a strawberry.
Yay!
Oh, a smiley face. I love it. Great. Oh, one of them it says friends on the rock. I love that.
Do you know how happy
A unicorn too. Great job. Strawberry.
You know how happy people are going to be when they find all of these rocks?
Yes. You all are going to be spreading kindness. We love it.
This one's rock star. It's for all of our rock stars that have joined us today on this. So I'm going to put my rock star down.
Mary, I see you have a Halloween rock. Can you use glow-in-the-dark paint?
You can. Yep. I like to paint rocks for all different holidays. So I've got my snowman rock. I've got my Halloween rock. I have an Easter egg rock.
Awesome.
Do any of you have a favorite teacher?
I see a kitty. Emma has a kitty.
This one says teacher's rock. Oh, I got it upside down. Sorry. Oops.
Oh, I love that one. That's like on a notepad.
I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and I bet your teacher would like to have a rock like this at the end of the year. Okay, let's see how our rock star rock is doing. Oh, I think it's ready. You ready? La, rock star.
Awesome.
This rock is for all of you out there because you guys are all rock stars.
Very cool.
Hey, Jennifer, I
Yeah.
thought I would teach our friends how to do this really cool technique using a paper napkin. Do we still have time to do that? I would love to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this is just a paper napkin. You can use a napkin that's left over from a birthday party or whatever you want. And I'm gonna pick a rock. I got a nice smooth rock here. And I'm gonna cut my paper towel or my napkin up. And I'm just gonna cut it in. It doesn't matter, you can cut it any way you want. Nice circle. It just needs to be big enough to kind of cover the top of your rock. So I got my galaxy rock. Now I've got some white school glue. So this is the same kind of glue that you probably have in your school supplies. Nothing special. Just open it up and I'm going to squeeze some glue onto my rock. Not too much because you don't want it to be super messy. And then I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'll spread that glue around. Get some on the sides too. Don't worry if you get it on your hands because this is washable glue. I'm going to take my paper napkin, I'm going to lay it over top. I'm going to kind of smooth it over and I'm going to take some more glue, put it on top.
This is so cool, Mary. So you could do this with any paper napkin.
Any paper napkin. Now, because it's paper, you're going to want to brush a little bit gently because if you get too crazy and too rough, your napkin might tear. Now I'm going to have to turn it over, put some glue around the edges, and basically we're wrapping this rock up in this napkin. And when the glue dries, it's not going to be this milky white color you see now. It's going to dry clear, and you're going to have a beautiful galaxy rock. In fact, I can smooth this over a little bit.
Very cool. So whatever pattern is on the napkin will go on the rock. That's really cool.
So if you're having a birthday party, you know how you have a birthday party and you have some people have special napkins. You could use this as a party craft to do at your birthday party. And
I love it.
A rock
So
to
Mary,
go with the birthday party theme.
That's really cool. So some of our friends are asking just to see some more ideas of what they could use. So maybe you can, show us some of those rocks and give us some little more ideas.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. What other rocks are we painting?
Friends, show what you're working on.
I see so many friends out there painting.
Oh, I see a diamond from Joey.
I love it.
Diamond.
You know what I like about this activity too? Is that everybody can do it together.
Yes. Oh, I see such cute. Oh, is that a watermelon or a strawberry? Great job, everyone. Mary, do you want to show us some more paint designs that they can do?
I do. You just said watermelon, and it reminded me of this. Once I had a rock that was broken, and I thought, oh, that's too bad. I have a broken rock. What am I going to do with this broken rock? And then somebody said, Mary, why don't you make a cookie with the bite taken out of it?
Oh, and I love that.
Took a rock that kind of looked like this and they turned it into a watermelon. So they painted the inside red and the outside green with stripes so that it looked exactly like a watermelon. The other rock that I love painting that's so easy to do is just a little bug rock. So you can have the world's tiniest rock and make a super, super cute bug rock out of it. In fact, sometimes the tiny rocks are really, really fun to paint. All right, let's paint that ice cream cone because I'm getting hungry for ice cream. Remember I told you that marker trick? And the marker trick is a really easy way so that you don't have to paint like the really tiny lines that might be too hard to do. So I'm going to draw my ice cream cone using my marker. Just like that. The color of my rock is kind of brown already, so I don't even have to paint the bottom. And then I'm going to paint the top. Let's see. What flavor ice cream should I paint? Anybody have any ideas?
What's everyone's favorite flavor? You can chat me up. Strawberry. Oh, yes.
Okay. I think it's strawberry day today.
Vanilla. We got lots of ice cream. Chocolate Rocky Road.
Let's do some pink paint. Who remembers how am I going to make pink?
Everyone remember how to mix colors? So how do we make pink?
I've got the red. Make sure you wash your paintbrush before you dip into that white, because if I don't wash my paintbrush and I dip into the white, I'm going to turn all of my white paint pink. All right, here we go. I'm going to hold it up close so you can really see that. See how that's working? And here comes some ice cream.
Very cool. Our friends love ice cream. We've got mint chocolate chip, sherbet, mango.
When my kids were little, they liked an ice cream that was called Superman. And I don't know if that's an ice cream that's just around here or if Superman ice cream is in other parts of the country, but it was like bright blue and bright red, it had all these really bright colors swirled together. And I think they liked it because of the bright colors. If I wanted to make this a chocolate chip in there, I could wait until that paint dried and then I could take my markers and I could draw little chocolate chips on there too.
So Mary, I know in the beginning you mentioned like a hashtag sticker. Do you want to show us and tell us what that is?
Yeah. So as we talked a little bit about, there's so many people who love spreading kindness by painting and hiding rocks. And there's rock groups all over that love to paint and hide rocks. And we do too. So we have in our kit, our Creativity for Kids hashtag. And what these are they're clear stickers that have our hashtag on there. And when you're finished painting and decorating your rock and it's all dry, you put this on the back, just like that. I'm gonna hold it up so you guys can see. Okay, it says hashtag Creativity for Kids. And if you go to hashtag Creativity for Kids, you're going to see so many rocks. So people that paint rocks, put their rocks, the pictures of their rocks up on our website. People who find our rocks, they'll take a picture and they'll put it up on our website. And it's really, really exciting if one of your rocks is found and somebody posts it on their website or on our website.
Yeah, so we can have your adults, so your family, they can help you and you can put the picture of your rock. And we have a Creativity for Kids Facebook group where you can share your rock pictures and then go hide them and find them and share again. It's a really fun way to engage with your friends and family and make everyone smile.
Hey, Jennifer, I hope that everybody who's painting rocks today, if there's a mom or dad that can help take pictures of rocks and put them up on our hashtag Creativity for Kids site, we would love, love, love to see them, because I've been busy painting, so I haven't been able to see all the beautiful rocks that are being created. But I'm going to watch this video later, and I hope later on when I go to creativityforkids.com that I'll be able to see your rocks.
Everyone want to show me your rocks? Let's see what you're working on. Oh, I see some strawberries. Ooh, I see some stars. Ooh, like a galaxy. I love the purple one. Very cute. Oh, I see a unicorn, rainbow. Great job, everyone. Oh, I see one that says Mom. I love it. Adorable. Dad. Very cute.
Hey, Jennifer, remember my galaxy rock, my napkin? It's starting to dry, so you can start seeing the pattern starting.
Very cool.
You know what I thought it would be fun? If I took my paintbrush and my white paint and I went and I put some extra stars on there.
Oh, I love it. So Mary, maybe we paint one more rock and let's let our friends decide what we should paint.
Okay.
What do you want to see? Type in the chat and we can show you how to do your favorite design.
I'll tidy up my area while I'm waiting for your suggestions.
Oh yeah, one says a person, red and white, a dog, a unicorn. Everyone loves unicorn. A wolf, a person, a butterfly,
Let's see.
a ninja,
Well, you know what?
a
Since
flag.
since we have the very hungry caterpillar, maybe I can do a butterfly to go with them. So let's see. I'll make the middle of my butterfly.
Oh, I see a rainbow. Great job, Maureen. Everyone's doing such a great job.
Now, how about some blue wings? I think I'll make blue wings on my butterfly.
I love it. Mary, we have a friend asking a question.
What's the question?
When you glue the paper napkin, do you just glue the front and back of the napkin, or do you also glue the whole rock?
Well, if let me show you on this one. Because it wrapped around the back, I made sure I put a little bit of glue on the back. But if you don't want to do that, you could cut your napkin so that it just covers the top of your rock.
Thank you.
All right. How's my butterfly starting to look? I think he needs a few spots on the nose. Let's see. I have one of my favorite hobbies is gardening. And in my yard, I plant so many different types of flowers to attract the butterflies. So right now I have something called a butterfly bush, and that gets really nice flowers on it that the butterflies like. I have milkweed in my yard that the monarch butterflies love. Here we go.
Beautiful.
What do you think?
I love it. So friends, where are you going to hide your rocks? Tell me in the chat. Oh, I see some more people holding up. A blue rock with a heart. Very cool. In a clubhouse, in the garden, when I take a walk, here in my home. Oh man, Mary, you should see these kids. Everyone's doing such a great job. Great job, everyone. In the backyard. Mary, where are you going to hide your rocks?
My neighbors are going to be so happy because when I go for a walk later, I'm going to hide some of these. And then maybe I will save some and hide them the next time in the park. I never leave the house without a rock or two in my pocket. Sometimes I carry a whole bunch and that makes my purse really heavy, but I love painting rocks. I love hiding rocks. I love spreading joy and kindness. And it's such a fun hobby to do. And I hope that you teach your friends and your family and your grandma and your grandpa. And anytime you get together with your friends, this is a great thing to do together.
Yeah, so thank you everyone so much for joining with us. And remember that you can buy this kit at Michael's. And we also, this is going to be recorded, so you can find it at michaels.com/classes later next week. Mary's showing the kit again, but if you don't have the kit, remember you can just go outside, grab some rocks, and have fun. And we're so glad you joined us today. Thank you so much. Everyone did such a great job.
You guys are rock stars. Thanks for joining us.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye, friends.